Good morning. Welcome to Caffeinate Your Career. Today's topic, how to get an entry-level job when AI is eliminating them. I'm your host, the career coach with the most, Jason Hopper. With me today, veteran career expert, slamming Sean Sweden. Sean, welcome to Caffeinate Your Career.
What's going on, Jason? Good to be back.
I'm glad to have you here, buddy. We were talking just a minute ago about AI and how it's gotten a really big push lately. It's not new at all.
Oh, no.
I mean, AI has been around since 1953. And, we talk about for job search, applicant tracking software, which has a form of, every one of them has a form of AI in it to build what it thinks is a good and perfect candidate for that position. But AI is eliminating a lot of entry-level jobs. That being the case, Sean, what do you think is a good way to, get one of those types of jobs when AI is making them obsolete?
Jason, as I did a little research, I started thinking about some of the aspects of how this might affect different groups, different demographics and whatnot. And one of the things I thought about is that, a lot of these positions and the ones that we see especially in the big box or retail areas where individuals might be on some sort of a assistance program, SSDI, ticket to work, things that we know about in the workforce that are supplement,
yes,
that get them by other than what they might have in a retirement or what they use in medical and health benefits and Medicaid and whatnot. And as we see things slowly getting taken off the plate with different things with the government and what's going on there, as AI eliminates some of these positions, we've seen it in some of the big box stores. I mean, everything's automated. You have one or two people that guide you and are troubleshooters.
Yeah.
But usually where there might be 10, 12, 15 people as cashiers, they're gone.
Right. So you can do self-checkout.
So
right?
holding those positions like that, they're gone. I mean, I know that even though this is more of a strategic business play, I know that I've already seen one or two companies in the area I'm in Garland that are manufacturing that are they're restructuring, they're moving. Now, again, there's a lot of things in play right now that besides AI that are kind of compounding that whole concern. But with AI, I think that a lot of the positions we're looking at, when I look at some of the Dallas Fed's numbers and what they're considering as percentages that are going to be slowly eliminated, you're going to have to do some strategic career pivoting in your job search, in how you conduct your searches, and what you're looking at is opportunities to either have income that's primary or supplemental, or it's going to affect you.
Yeah,
it truly is.
Yeah. That's interesting bringing up stores, right? Because I think I used to almost every single time just hop into the cashier line, right? I'm like, yeah, but for speed, I do self-checkout almost every single time, right?
I'm telling you, and even beyond that, as an example, my wife, since COVID and since the invention of curbside, Amazon Prime, even the self-checkouts.
Right.
She doesn't go to a store. She doesn't go, and if she does, she'll sit outside and order it ahead of time and have it curbside, pick it up in the parking lot, and go home.
That's right.
So, I mean, we've even gone beyond that already.
We don't even have to do our own shopping.
Right.
We just put it in the app, they go get it, put it in the trunk, and off I go.
So honestly, I mean, AI is going to be an aspect. And again, as the topic today, I won't get too far off of that because it is going to affect folks, and it's going to be detrimental in some situations. But I don't think it's going to totally eliminate options. You're going to have to find out what those other alternative options are for you.
I think jobs that require like the human touch, like that, for example, empathy, right? Because AI doesn't know that. So, like, we were just talking about recruiters and being recruiters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, AI can replace a lot of that, but not the actual decision making from the human. A counselor, therapist, like, you need those people to have all the feels, right?
Social services.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be an aspect. There's just like, we even see the little memes on some of the social media platforms like LinkedIn where there's construction workers that hang a banner over buildings saying, "Hey, you can't replace me." I mean, we're going to start seeing some funny stuff like that because
Yeah.
it's people are again are challenged and they're looking at it like, well, where do I stand with this? But some of those, like you're talking about, the social services that require the human aspect, the humanitarian aspect. Um, yeah, AI, I don't see it as being anything. And again, just like anything else, when we use the word replace, I think we use that, sparingly. We need to use that more sparingly because nothing's going to replace what we do, not anytime in our near future.
No.
But is it going to affect certain sectors of industry? Yes, absolutely.
And Sean, do you think people should be out there working on and learning AI tools?
Oh, absolutely. It's changed my life. I mean, just like we were talking about earlier before we got on camera. I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't I have this 20 years ago?
Yeah.
The things that I look at now and the way I see things, the perspective it provides me sometimes.
Oh, yeah, right.
It makes me think, wow, I did not look at that angle. So yes, I mean it's a huge tool, and regardless of what you're doing, whether it's research or for school education training, it can help you think about the things outside of the box. I hate to use that term, but it can help you see those things that you're normally not seeing.
I read an article it's probably been like 4 or 6 months ago that said that 34% of hiring managers will be asking candidates, how do you use AI? 34% does not seem like a lot, but it is for sure going to grow and move up from there, right?
See, that's, again, we know what we know.
Yeah, right.
And that 34%, honestly, is what we are kind of experiencing and somewhat projecting. But as we grow in the area of utilizing artificial intelligence, that number's going to grow.
I think too. And this particular podcast is about entry level jobs being eliminated by AI. But in the job search realm of things, I don't think it matters like what age you are, that you should know something about AI.
Oh, sure.
Right? I mean, whether you're asked that question in an interview or, you use it to have it draw a picture of a shark with lightning coming out of its fins, which I did just for a friend like a few weeks ago. Okay. Yeah, and it was super cool. It came out like it was awesome, right?
Yeah.
But whatever it is that you're doing, you should learn it. And I think people are scared of it.
We are. We're afraid of the unknown. That's the biggest fear a human being has. I mean, we hear people on the television talk about the lack of regulation and guidance on AI, and we think, oh my gosh, if I use this, can I do it wrong? Will it hurt me?
You're right.
Well, just like anything. I mean, we have to look at it from the analogy of using aspirin. I mean, you can take 2 aspirin and get rid of a headache, or you can take the whole bottle and it could be fatal to you.
Yes.
You have to know what the parameters are, what you're doing, and what you're wanting to accomplish, and stay within what you know, what your parameters are.
So, if AI is eliminating entry-level jobs, how do job seekers entering the market for the first time get experience?
And we kind of touched on this in a couple of our other sessions, and these are some of the things that, with education, with dual credit programs, and I know and a friend of mine was telling me that she lives down in South Austin, Central Texas, and Leander ISD. I think they have in their in one of their education programs with advanced placement. They have a bachelor's degree at Alfred High School. So when we look at our Gen Zs and Gen Alphas, the ones that these generations that were basically raised with an iPad from preschool on up, the technology side is in place. By the time they get to high school, some of this stuff actually bores them.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. So just learning more of those characteristics more desired in a corporate environment, or how to survive in those areas, those life skills are going to be probably more important. Those soft skills or professional skills are probably going to be more sought after for those individuals rather than just simply the technical side.
Yeah.
But AI, again, for us, for me, Gen X, millennial, there's some stuff we need to latch onto just to make sure that we maintain a sense of relevancy, if you would, and stay within the flow, stay within the game.
We talked before about apprenticeships, internships. I think also too, volunteering your time just to get the experience in doing it is a great way to gain those skills.
It is, and what we have to remember too, and not lose sight of, is that we learn from each other. What you know about something, and what we even talk about in these little podcasts that we do. I know afterwards it almost generates thought for me every time I leave here and think, well, I wonder what Jason meant by that. He was talking about flash interviews. What exactly was he getting at?
Yeah,
so
right.
So it makes me think, if that's something I don't really know about, maybe I should research it a little bit and get up to speed on what you were saying, or what you were implementing or referring or inferring about what those, how critical those are.
With the internet, like, everything is out there, all the information is out there.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, whether it's, in fact, what's interesting now, used to you would get on Google and you would query whatever you query, and it would come up with a couple of websites that, had that information.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the first thing that pops up is AI generated.
Yes, it is, and I like that. Now, what's interesting to me though, that I was finding that I've been doing in the last few months as I studied for school, is that when I have companies ask me about a position or call me and say, "Hey, Sean, we're looking for a heavy equipment operator," I'm like, okay, well, what I do is I'll take an old recruiting Boolean research and develop a formula on what I'm looking for and how I want to construct that. And I just keep a little template sheet of all those positions and those opportunities, so I can always refer back to it, pull it right back up in AI, or I can add to it or delete from it, and automatically get that information from an AI platform like Chat or Claude or whatever, and depending on how technical the position might be, and I maintain those, and I'm keeping a quick reference book for myself, so that when I need to do that again, I'm maintaining my relevancy.
That's a really good tactic. That is like,
why not?
If y'all should be paying attention to what Sean just said. In fact, I might have him just repeat what he just said, because that is amazing. Right?
Why keep reinventing the wheel every other day when you're trying to remember this stuff? Just keep a template of it. Keep your little quick reference template.
I think that is for sure a great way to conduct your job search. You don't have to keep going back to the same thing. If there's some things that I have to repeat, right, for typing out, like for example, if somebody said, "Well, what do you do?" If it's like, I have that written out, right? And here's how I can help clients, and this is the value I provide, and I just send it out. But keeping those tabs from previous AI searches, I think, is just amazing.
One of the other things that I do, I don't mean to be trying to toot my own horn here, but one of the things I use that I think AI has helped me with is that being repetitive, and me saying how many hours have I wasted today just telling people what I do over and over and over again. Taking AI like through Notebook LM and creating a podcast of an FAQ that I have on my services and what I can do to assist someone, and say, here, listen to this podcast, and especially with these Gen Zs, Gen Alphas, listen to what I'm saying on this podcast. You pick and choose one or two or three questions from there that you want to get back to me on, and then let's move forward from there. And it just
love that so
time
much.
Effective, cost effective. It costs nothing to do that.
They talk about video. Video is always going to be big. It's just, as humans, we're visual. But directing them to a podcast, that's a really good tactic.
Well, I'll tell you right now, with again, being cost and time efficient, if I can give someone a QR code, say, here, scan this, get back to me when you actually want to sit down and we get to the, to business, what you want to do.
Yeah.
It just saves so much time. And again, for Gen Zs, Gen Alphas, a podcast, YouTubers, people the TikTokers, the kids that they get their information from those things, the audiobooks, the ebooks. Well, why not placate to what their interest and what's trending and what they want to hear and see?
Yeah.
It's simple that way.
It makes sense, and I think it's a really good. That's a really good tactic, honestly, man.
Yeah, I mean, again, and when we talk about AI, one of the things on the employer side I want to bring up later in the conversation might be is that, how employers are using this. I would like to know how recognized credential agencies like, for example, like SHRM, how are they working with companies to revamp job descriptions utilizing AI, and what are they doing to streamline and apply some continual improvement and get rid of it. Because you and I both know, Jason, how many times we've been to an event and a recruiter says they're looking for this, and a hiring manager is looking for that, and the job description says this.
Right. Well, let's stick with that for a minute, because I think that's a really good point. Because oftentimes, and you know this to be true, what happens is like, okay, well, we're going to need a senior project manager. Okay. Well, when did we recruit for that last? Let's see. Sean's been here for like 5 years. Okay, great. Let's go put that up on Indeed, LinkedIn.
Sure.
Right? Because we already have the job description. But that was 5 years ago.
Exactly.
Like we haven't updated it to current and where we are right now, right? Because what we needed back then is probably changed from what we need right now. And that in itself is actually one of the reasons I think it is one of the reasons why people sometimes get ghosted, is because they start interviewing for a senior project manager, and as they're talking to senior project managers, they're in the middle of it and they go, I don't think we need a project manager at all. We just probably could get by with a strong admin. They stop, restart the search for an admin, and all these project managers they interviewed, they never get back to them because now they're focused on something else, right?
I see that in that instance that you're talking about. Again, I'm waiting to see how some of this industry recognized credentialing is going to change, but I also see how AI has suggested or even inferred that this might be more efficient to make this position that you had before multifaceted in this other level.
Yeah.
In someone who has these skills, who's younger, or I say younger, that's younger in workforce, and bring them in at a level where you actually can save more money. You got someone that's better skilled and better credentialed, and you're not wasting your time going through this ATS of 1,000 applicants to come up with 3 qualified candidates.
Right. Well, that's a good point. Like, what skills do you think that people should prioritize to stay employable?
Gosh, that's a big question, Jason. I mean, it depends on the industry, the sector, but I the areas that I see that when I look at some of the AI and how at the entry level, like the topic of this conversation touches on, is going to hit the most. Some of the biggest percentages I see when you look at advanced manufacturing, when you look at information technology, when you look at retail, customer service, big box store, those kind of areas, those are going to get hit hard. It's at that entry level position. Yeah. I mean, that's where it's going to get hit hard. So, regardless of how many years you have an experience there, if that position gets revamped or eliminated or reduced, whatever you want to call it, you need to be on point with some of these skills so that you can, for lack of better words, re-career or pivot into opportunities where there's bigger numbers of openings, and it gives you a much higher level of probability in obtaining another job and maintaining something sustainable and suitable for you to flourish in.
Yeah, I think that's right.
It's just hard to pinpoint is what I'm...
Yeah, it was kind of a broad question.
It's a tough one.
And I think some of the soft skills, though, are definitely going to put you ahead of the game. Like soft skills we talk about empathy or active listening. Things that can set you apart from somebody else and that the machine can't actually learn.
Yeah. Here in the DFW, I think it's, we just recently, I think the city or someone just signed a contract with the anonymous driven taxis they've been using on the West Coast for a couple of years now or more. And even some of the restaurants in some of the areas in Northern California, I've seen specials on how they're using customer service in their restaurants, to a certain aspect.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so, okay, well, they've been kind of knocking the bumps out of the road with some of these systems and platforms. I want to say it was, I don't know if you're familiar, but I think Discount Tire tried a robo tire platform that they put together back in 2022.
Really? No, I didn't know that.
Well, and from what I understand, they've kind of pivoted back away from that. Now, I don't know if there was a case there where it was maybe poorly executed, or maybe they weren't quite ready in a setup to make that work. But I think there's going to be a lot more of that come around as, again, some of these bumps in the road get knocked out of the way and people start streamlining these processes and making them work. So as we see sometimes a big push where people might lay people off, they're going to turn around, I think, and bring some of those back, because the ROI they were looking for initially, and maybe in that project to either replace or eliminate some of those positions, I don't think they're going to be able to eliminate the number that they anticipated, and people are going to have to come back because of that human aspect that you're talking about. You just can't get rid of it altogether.
Well, you think about like auto delivery trucks, say, right? Like they've got the taxis that are auto driven, but let's say let's say the human loads the truck. It can go to where it's supposed to go, like to my house, but then I still have to go out to go get it. Something has to happen to get the package to my front door.
I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, but it wouldn't be. I'm sure there's some kind of a system set up on how they do that, because I mean, that to me, that all kind of falls in the old Carvana system,
yeah, right,
and how they deliver and how they do stuff, and I don't know.
We bought a car from Carvana.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know how that experience is, but I mean, it was the nuance was this is so different, and it takes away from that aspect of having to go to the dealership and go through all the rigmarole there. I don't even know what the numbers look like with them and how they're flourishing. I know there's several places here in the DFW now that weren't there before, and apparently they do well because they have lots, in different areas of the metro.
We bought Steph's car, and she's had it. It's probably about 4 years now, and that's like what we did. We got it on Carvana. Carvana showed up, dropped the car,
right?
Put the old one that we were trading in on there off, and the guy explained, sign here, great, off we go.
Just like the commercial.
Yeah, exactly. It was exactly like the commercial. Right. Yeah.
It might stay that way for as far as I know, Jason. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's any nuances coming up in that process or not. I don't know.
It's interesting. We talk basically what had been eliminated. We went out to eat at this. We went to a new restaurant, or new to us. It wasn't new. They eliminated pretty much the waiter. The hostess dropped us off with an iPad and said, "You can order from here," and walked off, and then brought us water. And then we were kind of freaked out because we weren't expecting it, and so we ordered what we ordered, and they were like, "Did it work? I don't know." See, and then the food came. That was it.
Sometimes I don't, and that's gonna work for a lot of people, and I think that's great. But to me, I'm even in education, my years growing up as a youth, I'm a devil's advocate. I ask questions. I want to know. Well, why does this Chipotle salad have this on it instead of this dressing?
Right.
I want to know these things. I want to ask someone.
Yeah.
So in that regard or that respect, I might have a little bit of a problem, with that system. But again, for most that just simply want to do what they want to do, and that's their lane, and they're good with it. It'll work, I'm sure, just absolutely fine, and not a hindrance whatsoever.
It's amazing to me, like when we do go to restaurants and like the places that have the waiter is writing stuff on a pad. I'm like, don't you have that automated thing? Like, where they go, they say, okay, so burger, Impossible Burger, take off onion, and then, you know what I mean?
Right. And I'm telling you right now, I'm a little old school about some of that stuff. And when it comes to my food, I want to make sure that's the way I want it. If I'm paying decent money for something, I want it the way I want it.
Yeah.
And that's it. I don't, I'm going to order it the way I want it, the way I'm happy with paying for it, and I'm good with that. And so the one thing I don't like is, when you go to a situation like this, some of these new POS systems, when you go to eat, you order your food, they want you to give them the gratuity up front. I'm like, well, I don't even know if you're going to give me the food I want. Why do you want me to give you?
That's right.
So you know what I'm saying? So and that's a whole different conversation. Right. But yeah.
Sean, how can job seekers stand out when so many applicants are being screened out by AI?
And we've touched on some of this in some of the previous conversations, and I tell people all the time, don't be garden variety, because number one, when you look at this math equation of you applying for a job and being strategic with your job search, the last thing you want to be is the same as 100 other people.
Right.
Now minimal, yeah, try to do your very best to meet the job requirements, but find a differentiator. Find something that you might feel would give you an advantage to a company, or if there's any, maybe there's some projects listed on a website for a company that says we're moving into this area. Maybe I should get a certificate in that area. Yeah. Maybe it'll make me different, so that when I do apply, people see that I have, or do I fit in the culture? I mean, if I want to go to work for the Federal Reserve of Dallas, and I see that they're huge with volunteering with the United Way of Greater Dallas, and that's a big gift that they spend time with them volunteering. Maybe that's something I should look into. I mean, I love to volunteer, and I never really know who to go to. But if I'm going to apply for a job there, why don't I do some volunteering over there and get that under my belt and see how much I would like that? That's a differentiator that they can sit and say that you have a commonality with their culture.
Right.
And it can make a difference.
I think that networking for sure is like the key.
Oh, it is. That's another.
Sure. You want to stand out and be thought of. It's important that you be top of mind. And the best way to do that is just to get into places where you're able to tell your story. And I think that the more diverse the group that you're talking to and telling your story to, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah. I think the worst thing you can do right now is kind of be siloed and not, or have blinders on to a certain extent, and put yourself in a situation where you're kind of put yourself in a corner, so to speak. I think you're exactly right. I mean, and we all know that. I mean, as far as networking goes, again, staying intentional, staying relevant, not to the point where you're just simply, just moving along in a crowd, the very same thing that everybody else is doing, but to pull in some insight and create some of that creative thinking from listening to others and attentively and seeing what you can do to develop yourself professionally and whatnot.
Well, one of the problems with recruiters and resumes, and especially AI generated resumes, is job seekers are having AI write their resume, and it's basically the same because it just repeats like what you have. And so recruiters are now getting resumes and they're looking fairly identical except for the name and contact information. And some of the stuff that's on there, it doesn't know, and it just fills in the blanks.
Let me give you an example of that. Years ago, when I worked with the state, one of the things you used to see with USA Jobs and OPM, they have an old OpScan that your resume would go through.
Yeah.
And what they would see is some people would go through and check the series of the job they're looking at that's posted on the website, and almost cut and paste those requirements over and not necessarily make a match what their actual skills are. But that OpScan would see that and automatically just kick it out.
Yeah.
Okay. This is, so the AI patterns you're talking about, if it's to a point where it's a certain percentage and in a system that's set up reads that and sees that it doesn't match maybe what you're saying your years of experience are or in that certain area, I think you're going to a detriment. You're going to do yourself wrong there if you're not careful and maintain that level of, this has got me putting this together, and it's not just generated from a job description that AI pulled up.
We have one of our coaches here had a client was meeting with them and was like looking at their resume. They brought the resume. They were very happy. And she asked the client about a specific item, skill that was on the resume.
I think I know this is going.
And he goes, I don't know. And she goes, what, you don't know?
Exactly
he said, yeah. He said, AI wrote it for me. ChatGPT wrote this for me. And she's like, okay, well, first off, that's not quite right because
Well, how are you going to address that in the interview when they ask
That's
you?
right. Like you should be. One of my, I
Oh my
remember
gosh.
one of my favorite episodes of Seinfeld. Was George is about to leave Jerry's apartment, and he's like, I gotta go home and read this book on risk management. And Jerry's like, risk management? Why risk management? He goes, I don't know. Apparently, it's on my resume. Right? And they expected him to talk
Typical
to it.
George.
Anything that's on your resume, they are going to expect you to know something about it and be able to talk to it. So if AI is putting stuff together and just kind of filling in the blanks of what it thinks you might do,
Right.
now you're at a disadvantage when you get into the interview and they start asking you about stuff you don't know about it.
See, for me, all of a sudden, and again, I'm kind of old school, but for me, when you look at maybe core values of that company, I'm sure integrity is going to be at the top of that list somewhere. And if you come in, if you're coming in for a job interview and you're not very forthcoming or authentic to what you're representing as yourself, why would I want you representing my company?
Yeah.
So I'm frightened of that a little bit. And again, if people don't know the parameters on how to use that AI, to help them and not replace and make them sound like something they aren't, you could put yourself in a bad spot.
Oh my God, and it's just lazy, Sean. Like if you have ChatGPT create your resume, and you're like, yes, but you don't go back and reread it to make sure that the things in there are correct, lazy.
See, that's where I think someone like Sean comes in, and if you need him to edit, draft, or go over your final instrument you want to give to an employer, then for a small fee we can do that.
Sean selling. Sean, what if somebody can't find or land a job right away? What's the next step?
And this is due to
could be a variety of reasons.
Okay.
like I don't know, maybe they don't have a process or.
Well, I'll give you an example, Jason. What you're talking about. I mean, like I'm a full-time student right now, and I'm getting ready to graduate in December. And I'm starting to look at jobs. I'm starting to look at opportunities and things that I might feel like are great opportunities for me where I can contribute.
Yeah.
And that's what I look for. I don't look at it like, am I just trying to find a job? Where do I think I see pain points where I know what I offer and what my network, which has the most value for me, what I can offer there to be a team member and contribute and help provide some continual improvement or help grow a team in the vision in the direction they want to go. So I think you have to be more holistic, not so tunnel visioned in what you're looking for. I mean, and I know people that work in let's say in the area of safety, a very niche area where things like OSHA, things that in different, it's to me it's almost like law enforcement. And I've seen a lot of veterans do this in the past. They want to be a police officer, and their goal is to be a police chief. I'm like, wow. I mean, that's what I want to do that too. But when you look at the numbers, like for the city of Dallas, there might be one police chief in every 20 years or so.
Yeah.
And your level of competition you're going against, again, part of that equation that you absolutely have no idea what you're competing against, whether it be internal or external. That's a lofty goal. How realistic is that? Okay, that's it's a good, don't get me wrong, a good goal. But I mean, I think we have to look at our successes in shorter term accomplishments and say, where do I really want to go with something here as far as a job and the areas I want to look into? And what are the laws of probability to me to get to those goals?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like I said, the biggest thing I want to say about this is don't put yourself in a tunnel vision situation where you're just looking for one thing, banging your head against the wall, and it might not happen because it's not very wide open at that point in time.
It's important to establish realistic goals.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, well, not just realistic. Again, when you say realistic, what might be realistic to me and what I'm looking for, realism might be a different perspective to my family who's expecting me to put food on the table tomorrow.
Right.
And as I'm banging my head against the wall trying to get this job, and they're hungry, their perspective is totally different. My pride is saying, I'll find this job. I'll find this job. But if I'm not saying, well, maybe I should look at other options until I find this so I can keep food on the table. You have to take in totality that whole picture.
I think that's so important because people that are our age and older have the idea in their head that the career is like a straight
Linear
line.
career track, right?
Not so much today. And if you can't get your head around that and fractional work, right? And
That's a good way of putting it.
yeah, that is, I think, probably going to be what the landscape is of work is going. We're already seeing it.
Yes, it is. We're there. We're there. If you're not thinking about that right now, you just need to consider what options that avails to you.
It's like you're right, because we still have to pay for rent, mortgage, food, electric, like all the bills, right? So looking at other sites like Upwork or Fiverr or any gig site where you can get in there and get a job
Instawork.
or 2 or 3. I had a client like last year. She quit coaching with me because she goes, Jason, I am way too busy with projects from Fiverr to even have time. I'm like, that's exactly where I want you to be.
Good job.
Go. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Good
You
job.
did what you're supposed to do.
That's right.
Like, you go out and get 2, 3, 4, 5 different gig jobs that turn into, and that's what she ended up doing. On her LinkedIn, she wrote employer Fiverr and then listed out the things that she did because it was something that worked.
We're going to see more and more of that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we already are. I said we're going to. We already are seeing more and more of that because it does work. It's almost redefining sustainability.
Yeah.
Now, it might not be a W-2. It might not be necessarily, but it might open up doors to those opportunities.
Same thing. Like you get in there, you do a project. Great, go on to do. When I was in staffing, I was a contract recruiter for a year. I went in 3 months, kicked ass, got them caught up, went on to the next company. 6 months. Next company, I did a full year of contract recruiting. And I think if you're good at what you do, you can get in there, do jobs, do different projects for different employers. They can recommend you to the next one and you just keep rolling.
I think it's always keeping one, and no pun intended, but always keeping one in the hopper is a nice way to have a strategy there, because we saw years ago where I would hear people sometimes, recruiters say, well, Sean, this generation coming up, they won't stick to a job. They just move around. I'm like, well, wait a minute. What sector are you talking about? It's like, well, information technology, for example. I'm like, wait a minute. A lot of jobs that work on contract in the IT world, those people, when they have a resume that shows they've had 10 jobs in the last year, it's because they're needed in those projects and they're sought after.
Yeah.
People are looking for their talent and what they can do. So don't look at that and just sit and think, you won't stick to us, we don't want you. In that interview, look at that need. Look at why they took those jobs and how they worked for them, because they filled a void where someone else wasn't good enough to do it.
Well, it's also too, you think about job history and how it's changed, because back in the day, good job history was 5 to 10 years. Now it's 2 to 3, and that was due to the millennials. And
after I think it's October 2nd this year, if you go to USA Jobs, OPM is posted on there in a big attention, a little box that shows up when you log in.
Yeah.
And it says after October 2nd, resumes any longer than 2 pages will not be accepted. See, used to the USA Jobs, 10, 15 pages, they wanted everything about you. But now the new template for federal jobs is more like what you would see in the private sector.
But that makes sense, just because the way that we consume data is different than it was. It's why if you go look at my LinkedIn post today, everything is just one line, right? It's a post like this long. It's 2 inches, but everything is one line. Is
that also playing to generations though that read text and read things?
Right.
Yes.
Well, it's also, it's why posts on X are just 120 characters. It's why TikToks are only 30 seconds. There's a reason for all of the things, right? It's because
and we have to adapt.
We should, yes, right? Which is like I see on resumes, job seekers will write their professional summary, and it's like 4, maybe 5 sentences, but it's still a chunk of words sitting there. Nobody wants to read that. Nobody is reading it. As a recruiter, I never read a single professional summary. I just jumped right down to the bullet points. It's like, why are we doing this?
I want to know what I need to know.
That's right. And I want to know it now. I don't want to have to, and this is why when I work with clients, we talk about resumes. I have them come up with those core competencies tailored to the company, like you said, integrity, like what, with a statement behind it that's going to quantify specific items. And all of that is going to be, like we say, like back in the day when we had newspapers, above the fold, right? It's above the fold. We don't even get to the experience until after the second half, right? Because we want to know it very quickly. We just do. So,
and that's part of the, again, with some of the AI platforms that I utilize, especially when I've been revamping and doing my resumes, I ask it to look at what is the top 3 templates today that recruiters are looking at. And that's just a vague question, a vague statement.
Yeah. But it'll spit it back out at you.
It'll spit it out and I'll look at them and go, okay, those look good. But what if I wanted this? And I create my own that fits a lot of what I think are great aspects that I know are going to be looked upon by the recruiter, and those differentiators that I know other people do not have, or very little will have, and it increases my odds of being looked at.
Well, just in like the notes for this, I had it. I typed out the topic, right, which was how to get an entry-level job when AI is eliminating them, and it gave me basically a template of what it was, and then I just had it go back and write this in question and answer form, and it did. Here we are, right? It's simple. So Sean, we're about at time. AI entry-level jobs, like any final thoughts?
I think just like some of the stuff we talked about before, Jason, don't wait till the last minute. Prepare. Prepare, be strategic, be intentional, maintain a sense of relevancy. Don't swim in the middle of the pond with everybody else.
Yeah.
Find a place, a niche, find an area that opens doors for you, and especially in those times of need where you're really kind of, I won't say desperate, but you're in a pinch and you really need to get into something. Find a place there. Find a place there that not everybody's looking at, and just make yourself a hand in there, because you don't know what other areas that can open up. It's just like the networking aspect you hammer on constantly about stuff.
Yeah.
You never know if that next person you talk to says, you know what, I've been looking for someone that has that skill you got. So why don't you give me a call? Yeah. You don't know when you're going to run into that person. You don't know. So just be intentional about what you're doing. Be strategic. Those are the biggest things I can say.
I think mostly it's just like actually just getting in there and messing around with it,
educating yourself,
and figuring it out.
Yes.
Like I was working with a client, and he's like, well, it's like you need to come up with some target companies, right? And this is what so he went to the library, checked out a book, brought the book home, started. I'm like, just plug it into ChatGPT. It'll give it to you in seconds, right? You don't have to do all the hard work.
I had someone call me the other day, and someone that works for government, and it just kind of floored me because he called. I missed the call, and he left a message, a voicemail, and the voicemail said, "Hey, Sean, I need you to help my son find a job." And that was it. And I've known this guy forever. I'm like, well, wait a minute now. And I'll just, his name was John. I'll say that. But I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, how I work. And I'm going to send you a template, an email that says, give me this information or I can't help you.
Right.
You can't just come up to me and say, give me a job. Get you a job in what?
Yeah. What do you, yeah.
That's just the craziest thing to walk up to a recruiter and say, is because it just drives them mad.
I will get that sometimes as well. I get a DM. Hey, can you help me find what? I don't know. What do you need? Tell me specifically what it is. Let me tell you where I can help you. Again, I have it copied. I copy and paste it from Word doc. I've already written it out. You can tell me if that's going to work for you, right?
Or what they've done. And again, like I said, we're going over some things that we've gone over in the past. But LMI, know that if you sit and say, Sean, I want to be a welder. Okay, well, in this area, here's projected growth for welders in this area. Now, that's something we want to look at. Let's go from there.
And you
have a starting point.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. I mean, you can't. You have to have a starting point to get to where you
Well,
need to go.
if there's not jobs in the area,
you
we're going to have a tough time.
You relocate or find a different skill, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sean, let's talk about the fun question for the day. I'm going to give you an easy one.
Oh my gosh, you killed me on the last one, Jason. This one better be easy.
I'll make it an easy one. Like, what's your favorite book? Or you could go with your favorite author.
One of the ones that hit home with me in the last couple of years that, I had a chance to meet the author, David Grant, in The Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh, yeah.
And being indigenous, there was just some things in history that I was not apprised. I didn't know. I knew what I thought was general information about things and things that got on there, but sat down to hear him speak about how he put the book together and how it turned into the movie, and all that. It was very eye opening to me because there's just simply a lot of things, regardless of what our history or our makeup is in our lineage. There's probably a lot of things we just simply don't know, and it was very eye opening to me, almost to a point where it was kind of embarrassing because I felt like, how do I not know this?
Yeah.
How? But there are some things that just simply aren't in a history book.
Yeah.
And to me, again, that's why history is so important, that we storytell. We sit and have conversations and we talk to each other.
Yeah.
Because there's just things that some of us don't know. We think we know all these things and we don't.
Yeah.
So that was probably the most impactful one that I've read in the last couple of years. That was it's just stuck to me. Like, it made me question. I was inquisitive about me.
Yeah.
Sean, you talk about all these things, but you don't know half of what you thought you knew.
Right. So you don't know what you don't know.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that was probably the biggest one for me, to be honest with you. I mean, one of the ones I think I've talked to you about in recent years was Andy Grove's book. I can't remember the title of it. Dang it, there's a couple of them he's written, but The Strategic Inflection Point, and what he went through in his career and how he rose from a waiter to the fourth CEO of the Intel Corporation, and some of the trials and tribulations that he saw on the inside develop there. I think it's thought provoking. It brings about some analytical, creative thinking. It makes you look within yourself.
Yeah.
And what you can really do if you really apply yourself. What is possible? Sometimes we don't push ourselves to that point. So I like that. So it's inspirational.
I think if you have enough, if you want it bad enough and you have the drive, that as humans, we can be limitless.
We can, and again, to add that portion that you always bring up, that those components of networking, knowing your value and the value of others and what they bring to the table. I always tell people as leaders, what I learned from the military, there is no such thing as bad teams, only bad leaders. That's the way I was taught. You watch sports teams today, and if a sports team does bad, they don't fire the team, they fire the coach.
That's right.
And that's the way it works.
Yeah.
So when you're in a position of leadership, it's not about what you do, put yourself in that photo op. What do you do to build your team to replace you down the road? What are you doing to grow them in professional development as a leader? And what is your self-sacrifice to give to them so that they maintain that cohesion and they move forward and they're successful?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it's perspective. It just gives me something to wake up, look forward to say, what have I not done? What am I preparing to do today that I've not done? So it's just how I kind of motivate myself a little bit.
I like it. Sean, thanks for being here for the month, for the podcast. I appreciate it. It was awesome having you on. And also, too, like, you came up with all the topics, which a lot of which we haven't really discussed before. So it was good to get a different perspective from you, and I appreciate that.
No, thank you for having me. Let's have some follow-up down the road and see where some of this goes.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. So next week, there won't be a podcast, actually, next week. We're in the middle of the Jewish high holidays, and so a lot of them are on Tuesday. So the next podcast is actually going to be October 21st, and I will be talking about how to stay motivated when your job search is slow. So if y'all want to contact Sean, he always info is on LinkedIn.
Always.
And get going on that, and we will see you on the 21st. Bye.
Peace.